Approve.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? Seeing all hands raised, motion is carried. Next item is presentation by Laura Morris of Be the Influencer.
Thank you so much. Sue, can you just make me a host and I'll share my screen? You tell me when you're ready. Okay, cool. I love that sound. All right, here we go. Can you guys see it?
I'm good.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, first of all, thank you so much for letting me peep in on your meeting. I just feel like we want to be a resource to you as much as we possibly can. And sometimes I'm not even sure if you know what we are and what you can ask for and what you need. Sometimes we just want to know, what do you need? Maybe we can design programs for what you're looking for. But what is a drug-free community grant? That's what we are. And we are a coalition in Wyndham Raymond, but we are a drug-free community grant that's out of Washington, D.C. So that's who we are funded by. It used to be SAMHSA, but now it's the CDC. And basically, we have a whole strategic plan that just helps us to keep youth off drugs. That's basically what we're doing in your community. And it takes a village. So we have sectors in the community, our strategies, and we just want to see it keep going. These are all the stakeholders. We work with every nook and cranny of the whole community. So we just got a new parent that's going to lead some of our parent efforts. Her name is Brianna, and she's from Raymond. We're thrilled to death. So I think we're going to see more education and parent outreach there. We have youth groups in every single school. We work tons with the school district, business community, religious, civic. In other words, we're just everywhere. So what's our vision? It's just to help you guys with consistent messages that teen and alcohol drug use is not the norm, and to support you and to help in education and all sorts of other ways. So we just wanted to let you know some of the things we've been doing within these 7 strategies, which is to educate, be supportive, change access barriers. That's like when we change the policies and that type of thing in your area to update you on vaping and marijuana changes. You've had a lot going on this last year with marijuana legalization and changing physical design. Don was even on a task force where we were trying to stop the hot spots where drug use was taking place. So that would be a good example of that. But we're doing tons in your schools, and we just want to make sure that you know it. We're doing education in all of the health classes. We have high schoolers come down and do presentations on marijuana, alcohol, vaping to the middle schools. We're doing an arts and prevention series right now. You might have seen our big community art mural. Every student in all of Wyndham and Raymond partook in that, a lot from your school system. We did chalk art with the high needs students at Katahdin. We do theater programs. We brought 60 kids 2 years ago, and we're going to bring 160 kids this coming year to go to the Capitol to talk to Bill Diamond and all of our reps on vaping and what we can do to keep it out of the hands of youth. Sidekicks is a program we do with youth on teaching them how to talk to their peers. We have kids in Maine Youth Court, which make decisions for other peers on whether they're using or not. We do a yearly summit with other DFCs in the area. We have PSA contests. I'm not going to go through all of these, but there's so many different really cool things we're doing in the schools, and we want you to know we are there. But there's our logo contest. This is just some pictures. That was a family sculpture we did. Those are all Raymond students. On what is it like to have someone with substance misuse in the family, and how does it affect the members? And then we talk about it. So it has been really great working with your youth. Once they get to high school, we bring them to Washington, D.C. to go to conferences. There's a pretty heavy group there that does all sorts of things. Those are our theater groups. We did a dodgeball tournament, stay in the game with Red Claws. That's our high school group again. We're starting really early now in 3rd grade for tobacco, vaping, and education. And we've come to Raymond many a time. We have to start early with that. I don't think anybody knows how dangerous those products are and how they are targeted to youth. And that was at the middle school with the Escape the Vape program. That's when we went to the Capitol. So they start a lot too in 5th and 6th grade through the DARE program, and Matt Sear does a fantastic job. We did an opiate project, which we would love to bring to Raymond as well. That was a Back to the Future theme as to what would opiates be like with the opiate crisis that we have. What would it be like without? And we'll tell you more about that, but we'd love to bring it to Jordan Small as well. It really affected a lot of kids. They showed their front page articles. 500 to 600 parents came. And we brought the project to CADCA conference in DC, where it got a lot of notoriety. Parent engagement is so important. I hope you know that we are here for teaching parents, how do you know if your youth are using? And if you do, what can you do about it? How do you talk to them? And if you're using yourself, just be careful. Like, make sure you dispose of stuff, that you store it safely, that you don't do it that much in front of your kids, because they really do look to see what you're doing. We're at most of the parent open houses. We do assemblies, tons of community education. This is where we'd love your input. Is there education that you're not seeing that you want to see in your community? We'd love to come in and do it. Those are a lot of the law enforcement and Wyndham. We do training to the servers to make sure that they are making sure that when people do drink, that they don't get on the road. We bring people to the CAP to a lot of our training. That was National Night Out. We were in the Summerfest parade. We used to be at Raymond, or Everyone Loves Raymond, but we don't see that event anymore, unfortunately. At Tassel Talk, we did do this family fun fitness and film festival that was very cold, but we did mindfulness sessions. We did yoga on the beach. We did teen games. And we're just trying to help people work with stress and anxiety, because substance misuse, particularly among teens, are really, really up because of COVID. So I know it's hard to engage kids during COVID, but just know this is a time more than any time that we need to be talking about it with our youth, and doing preventive things. So we try to do a lot of youth engagement that gives them alternatives. We change policies. We go to Washington, D.C., school assemblies. We did do Narcan training that I know there's a little bit of maybe miscommunication on what Narcan actually does, but it is something that it really helps to be equipped. It saves lives day in and day out. And it does not encourage drug use. I'd be more than happy to talk to anybody about that. For people that we work with that have gone through recovery, they say you would rather have your teeth extracted than go through that if you are indeed using, because it's like being a microwave from the inside out. It just burns, it hurts, it's awful. Nobody aspires to have that if you are using, but it does save people and gives us a chance to put them through rehabilitation. We're working with the religious community we call it Spreading Abundant Hope, so that from the pulpit, there are going to be messages that can help us with prevention and recovery, and also just provide resources as to where do you go if you need help, that are also very confidential. We work with a lot of businesses, and right now we're working very strongly on working with trauma. COVID is causing trauma. Youth might come from trauma. How do we help kids when they are feeling sad, depressed, anxious, so that they don't self-medicate, so that they don't make bad decisions that are unhealthy for them? And so we're doing a lot of the things that you see on this list, mindfulness, tools to make them feel good about themselves, and just how do we deal with stress? We're planning some community events around that too, so that we know that it's not what's wrong with the child, it's what's happened to the child that we deal with. This is the big huge banner we're telling you, that art mural that we did with all the schools, and we're in the media quite a bit. So I'm sorry that I had to spew all that at you, but the truth is we want you to know that we're here for you, that we'd like to help with any challenges you have in your community. I don't think there's anybody alive who doesn't want to keep youth off drugs. So if we can appeal to your parents, if there are more venues where we can do more education, you tell us. We want to be a resource to you. And that's what I just want to make sure you knew, who we were and what we could try to do to help your community. Don.
think if we can ever get by this pandemic, we've got a real opportunity with our Joe Crocker and our recreation department. I know you've worked with him already some, so I see that as a real potential to get the word out, to integrate what you're doing with what we hope to be doing in a bigger way with youth. And of course, we have our Roadrunner with Kayla. We can continue messaging via the Roadrunner and our other channels, our social media, our website. So, I'm looking forward to working with you. I think you've done a really great job there. And so we'll do whatever we can to help you, I think.
Well, and I say, what can we do to help you?
We'll work together on this. We'll work
Yeah,
together on this.
resource, and we want you to know that if there's something you don't see that we're not doing, say, we think there's a need here, and we can get the right professionals and we can help. We're not rehabilitation, but we are prevention, and it has so much to do with just starting at the roots. So thank you, Don. Joe is
One thing I would like to do is, I attended in the past, but if Joe has the interest and time, I would like to see Joe be our representative. Would that be possible?
He's been coming to the meetings. He's been
Oh, good. Well, he's
Yeah.
kept that from me. I didn't know that. So make him our official representative if we
I
could.
guess I was one step ahead of you, Don. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, on need to know basis, I guess, but that's good.
Have you checked in with the library, the Raymond Library?
Yeah.
Okay.
We were doing, at one point, we were going to do some teen programs, but I think it's just really hard to get teens engaged right now. We're going to be bringing in music, dance, and theater that we want all youth to take advantage of. And we'd like to be able to bring that to the library.
Great.
Good.
Yeah, it's a great program. And they did anyone want to hang our mural? We need a place to put it. We've been rotating it around. It was at the library at one point, but we need another place. Give us a place. Well, I won't take any more of your time. Thank you so much, and reach out if you can anytime.
Thank
Lori, who
you
do you
very much.
coordinate? Who do you coordinate your efforts with the schools?
How do I coordinate it?
Who do you? Who's your contact?
Well, mostly the middle. We work secondary mostly, so it would be Randy Crockett and Lenny Davis and the health teachers, Charlie, out that way. Chuck. He likes to go by Chuck.
Thank you.
Yeah. Have a
Thank
great
you.
night.
Thank
Thank you, Laura.
you.
Thank you.
Thank
Enjoy
you.
tomorrow.
Oh yeah, you too.
Thanks.
Yeah, I want to clarify. It's this rental agreement policy is really a blanket policy over all the public parks and including Tasseltop. Trying to unify all the policies we have right now at Tasseltop, just the cabin rental agreement, and it doesn't really apply to some of the other events and other things we're trying to do. So it's a blanket coverage of all the parks and beaches. So yeah, the rental policy agreement, everyone had a chance to read it. It has the Tasseltop Park, Sherry Gagnon Memorial Park, Raymond Beach, Crescent Beach, and Veterans Memorial Park. And it has a possible fee attached. Really, essentially, I see the fee being used for Tasseltop Park and the baseball or softball field. We have rentals outside of Raymond that people are interested on field space. So it would be a good way to have some money that would be designated to the fields for upkeep or any other projects that we might want. Yeah, any questions on the rental policy agreement?
Questions from anyone?
Nope.
I suspect it'll be a work in progress to some degree. This is an inaugural policy, and we'll probably, as we get into it, find things we'll want to look at and adjust. But I think Joe's done a good job in getting this preliminary policy together. I know he looked at some other similar policies in other places, state policies. So good job, I think.
Agreed.
Thank you. Yeah, this will be good for once we get the online reservations. People can request time either at the ball fields or wherever. It would just be good to get that initial sign off of liability and everything like that. With events over 100, I put in there for the public property use agreement, which then would, over 100 people would go to town manager and select board for approval. So I still think that's, very important.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Other questions?
Mm-mm.
Okay. I'll move on to my Tasseltop Park update. I have a few numbers here I can rattle off.
Could I ask a question on the policy?
Yes.
So, were the selectmen going to adopt it?
Oh.
I thought there'd be a motion, and maybe I'm incorrect.
Well, I think I would, at this point, keep it as a working thing with those fees in there. And let's see if we need to do any tweaks to it before we make it the formal policy.
Okay, so Joe can enforce it without it being a formal policy.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
And
Thank
that
you.
works. Yeah, that works well too, because
I mean,
possibility of
unless there's objections from others on that, but I just assume see, I mean, all the elements are in there, so I think, and I don't see any reason why it would be unenforceable without a formal vote, and then we can see if we need to add anything, do anything to change it, and then bring it up at the next, in the spring to see where we are, and then put that, and then build that into the fee schedule and things like that.
You know what? If I think about this, I don't agree with that. Actually, I was fine with it, but people are going to say, well, they never voted on it, so it's a work in progress. So technically, how can you enforce something that's a work in progress? So if we vote on it now and Joe does find something later that says, look, this really isn't working, I'm going to bring it back to you guys. I think we should vote on it, to be honest. And then that way where it's got a stamp from us that says that we agree with it, and we're backing Joe up on it, and he can enforce it. But if Joe's saying, no, I can still play with this, I can play with that, we're not sure.
It is true, in my book.
Because I don't think it gives Joe some teeth on it to do something with it. You know what I mean? If we're still not voting on it. So I'm going to make a motion to accept the Parks and Recs rental policy agreement, and Joe can feel free to come back to us at any time if there's any kind of changes or something that you see isn't working or would work better. Yeah.
I'll second for discussion.
Okay. Discussion. So the motion that's on the table is to accept the agreement as written.
Yes.
Joe, do we have any looming use for this document to be in place within the next 3 or 4 months?
No, it's really
Okay.
looking forward to probably spring and summer for baseball season.
Okay.
And because additionally, I would like to add probably a wedding fee package to it and some other items. So yeah, I mean, there's nothing tentative. That the weddings would be in October, most likely. So
Okay, the cabin rentals are outside of this agreement, that's correct?
correct. Yeah, we have a separate rental agreement already
Okay.
in place.
I hear you, Teresa, about saying that we should move along, but I think if it's right now a work in process with no immediate demand for it, then we might want to take another month or so to do whatever tweaks we think we need to do. I personally have no tweaks to it. I think it's fine.
So the park is currently open right now for people to go in there to snowshoe, cross-country ski down the road, go for walks. Correct.
Tasseltop.
Yes.
Correct.
Okay.
It-
So
I was-
if a family wanted to have like a birthday party down there because there's no place to go right now with COVID, but it's actually open space, can they do that? When snow comes and they You know what I'm saying?
There- Is that possible?
Well,
Yeah.
because it's technically it's open. It is an open park and we have to have it open. And I think that's what I'm kind of looking at is people are looking for different things to be able to do with kids and their kids to be able to get out is what it is. So, I mean, either way, I don't think this would affect this policy or wouldn't, it wouldn't go with this policy because it'd be just down there, a bunch of kids down there playing is what it is, you know, and using the trails, using the snow, using the road, whatever.
And
Right,
under
more
this,
casual recreational use right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and we would not be charging a fee for that particular. So again, there's another reason. not to-
I don't mind withdrawing my petition. I mean, my petition, my motion. My
You
motion.
you can't withdraw because the motion has been seconded. What can be moved is table the motion to a future meeting.
Which
Yeah,
I
motion.
would agree with that motion.
Yep.
To table it for 90 days.
Yep,
Is there a second to the tabling?
second.
All those in favor?
You okay with that, Joe?
I'm perfectly fine with that.
You seeing all hands raised, that the motion to table is carried.
Thank you.
Nice one, Marshall.
Okay, next item is consideration of abatement requests. Kurt, you're on.
So it's been a couple of months since the tax commitment was initiated in mid-September, and usually right after the tax bills go out is when we find out any mistakes or boo-boos that we've made. And so I've got 4 tax abatements here, which are largely administrative. The only one that probably isn't is the last one, which is more of a valuation issue. But essentially, we just have a couple of homesteads that were not processed in error. So we need to correct that so that the taxpayer can receive their homestead exemption. The third one is a land acreage correction. Should have been done many years ago, but for whatever reason was not, and the taxpayers just brought it to our attention recently. So we're looking to make a correction there. And the last one is an application by a new owner who purchased a property off Spring Valley Road. It's up near where it turns up and goes up the hill. It's very steep to the water. The property is bisected by the road. It's a little bit unique. Most of the houses down there have gotten their homes down pretty close to the water when zoning allowed for it. This one is, they're gonna have to stay 100 feet back and about 30 feet off of the road. So it's a very narrow development potential. So we're looking to make a little bit of an adjustment there for the topography issues with that particular property. And that's all I have so far as abatement requests. On another note, we have been working through October to process all of the sales that came in over the course of the summer. As you probably know, real estate market has been pretty hot. Prices are going up. We've got sales in through September. I'll be spending the next month or so qualifying those sales and doing some analysis. And just for a heads up, I'll probably be looking to maybe schedule a workshop with the board sometime after the holidays to start the process of thinking about our timeline for a potential revaluation down the road. We'll start out with a workshop discussion and see where the board wants to go with it once we have some good data to present on where the market's going. That's all I have.
Okay. So we've got 4 things to move on.
4, yes.
Is there a motion on Linda? I gotta blow my thing up so I can read it.
I know. the amount, what is it?
Lansky.
Yep, $24,250.
Is there a
That's
second?
right. Yeah.
Was there a second?
Second.
Oh, okay. So we moved in second. Any discussion? All those in favor? Seeing all hands raised, motion is carried.
Right, a motion to approve the James Chapman and Carol McLeod abatement in the amount of $24,250.
Second.
Moved in second. Any discussion? All those in favor? Seeing all hands raised, motion is carried.
A motion to accept the abatement on Shelley Landry. They're going from an old assessment to a new assessment. The valuation abated is 11,000.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? Seeing all hands raised, motion is carried.
A motion to accept the abatement on Todd Robertson, care of Joseph and Elizabeth Tour. Okay, I thought it was right. And that one is 52,800. That's gone from an old assessment to a new assessment.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? Seeing all hands raised, motion is carried. Next item is consideration of close and disbandment of the RSU 14 Withdrawal Committee.
Thanks, Kurt.
Excuse me, Rolf,
Thanks, Kurt.
excuse me, I did have a second part to that, to the
Oh.
Tasseltop fees. I had a quick update for Tasseltop.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, you did.
Okay.
I didn't want to interrupt Kurt, so I hold on. So yeah, I do have some end of the season numbers. Our revenues for end of the season, we went up 26% from last year.
Wow.
So that's over the three revenue streams of cabin rental, snack shack, and gate emissions season passes. So in all three categories, we increased, and we ended up $85,000 in total revenue. From last year, it was $67,400.
Wow, great job.
So I just want to thank
Through
everyone.
COVID too.
Yeah, amazing, amazing staff, amazing town to work for, and I just want to
Wow.
thank everyone for that. And sky's the limit from here on out. So,
Yeah.
Great
Good
job. Oh
job.
my
Thank
goodness.
you. Thank you, Joe.
Yep,
so that's it. I'm out.
Okay, thank you.
Do you wait a minute? Do you have any rentals so far for next year?
Yeah. So we with the grandfathering in, we have 17 weeks booked already.
Whoa.
Out of how many weeks?
Out of, I think I've expanded it to 22. And
Whoa.
the other few weeks are early spring to late October. So
Okay.
everything in between is booked, and yeah, we had a few cancellations this year, so yeah, we'll be up in that revenue as well for next year. So that's exciting.
Wow, great. Thank you.
Yeah.
Good job.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you,
Thanks,
Joe. Okay, so next item is consideration to close and disband of the RSU 14 Withdrawal Committee. Seems the article failed at the election. There's the need for the committee is no longer there. What I'd like to do is get a motion to disband the committee and to allow the printing of the minutes from the last meeting of the the August 31st RSU 14 Withdrawal Committee meeting as accepted, because the tape is actually the definitive document, but that allows that then to be published as approved minutes.
So moved on what Rolf just said. I'll make that motion.
Second.
Discussion?
Yeah, I have a quick question.
Yeah.
Should we have a committee keeping, it seems like we're gonna have a better service. We're going to get along better with Wyndham because we've made this stink, and they can't say push us around per se. And now that we've hopefully made that point and they're gonna treat us as how they should, should we have a committee that is in touch and keeping it on that same page so it doesn't fall so fast if it does fall? Do you know what I mean? Am I making sense?
It's
Yeah,
a really
no,
good,
yeah.
it's a really good point. And I think that's what our representatives are for. Maybe what we need to do is get the representatives to come to our meeting to just have that open dialogue so they can have two avenues besides the select board and the school board, to have two avenues to be able to be on like TV for people to hear their reports, maybe?
I mean, ultimately, we will have, there'll have to be another or a different committee that's looking into it's time to relook at the cost share agreement again and see where that is. So, but that's not what the task of the withdrawal committee was. So we have to close that one out, and then we can then go with a new or whatever. But this gives a formal closure to that'll lets that end, and then we move forward with anything else that we want to do. So yeah, but good idea.
Cool.
So it's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Seeing all hands raised, motion is carried. Next item would be public comment.
Oh, we
Yes.
have a deer hunter.
Yep, go ahead, Charlie. Wait a minute, where'd you go? Oh,
Ooh,
He's
he
on mute.
disappeared.
I think he went to mute and he lost his video. We probably can hear you, Charlie. We just can't see you right now.
Working on that, but maybe you don't have to see me. You can hear me?
Yeah,
Yeah, you're kind of tinny, but go ahead.
Yeah, we'll get a little closer. How's that?
Better.
Yep.
That better? No, I'm not a deer hunter. I'm a farmer. First, Charles Levitt, Raymond Hill. Boy, Lonnie, those comments, that was classic. However, first, a minor comment. I did not intend to address this, but I would like to disagree with the accepted minutes from the September 3rd public hearing on withdrawal. It was stated the chair closed the meeting after seeing no hands raised for comment. In fact, there were several hands raised, and the chair ignored this observation by the town clerk. So just, that's not to correct the minutes because you've already accepted them. It's just to continue the process of trying to tell the truth in the town of Raymond. So I would like to thank Mrs. Sadak, Mr. Olson, Mr. Taylor. Now, he wasn't included, but I heard his comments, so I understand his position. Mr. Bullock, Mr. Bruno, Mr. McDermott, Mr. Woodbury, and Mr. Willard, the most prominent proponents for Raymond withdrawal.
I disagree with that, Charlie.
Excuse me. Can you excuse me?
I disagree with that.
Don't interrupt, please, Mr. Bullock. This is public comment. You'll have your chance during the selectmen's portion of the meeting, or you can talk to council, which we've been through before. Is that correct,
Let's
Mr. Will?
continue, Charlie. Go ahead.
So anyway, Mr. Chair, all comments go through the chair. Thank you. So now that I've been interrupted, in my 37 years in town, I have not seen any one issue energize the people of Raymond like this since, well, since the same divisive, ill-conceived, manipulative, and taxpayer insulting proposal was defeated by the same 2-to-1 margin 5 years ago. This time, however, it should be noted, the no vote received more votes, 2,048 to be exact, than Donald Trump, Joseph Biden, or Susan Collins. Normally, after such a stunning second repudiation of a reprehensible and misguided adventure that tore at the very social fabric of our community and screamed fiscal irresponsibility, the perpetrators would resign, retire, or be recalled. This won't happen, so I have a suggestion for the select board. First, apologize to the community.
No.
Kids, excuse me, no interruptions. Mr. Chair, would you please?
Continue, Charlie, just
Public
get on with
comment.
it.
Thank you. No comments. Kids, so again, apologize. Yes. I wish you could see my head nodding up and down. Yeah. It's not so funny now, is it? Not so much laughter going on. So apologize to the community, the kids, the parents, the RSU employees, the town employees, the people of Wyndham, and especially the 1,018 Raymond citizens, many who were misled by you into voting yes. Second, I would like you to consider asking those leaders who supported wasting tens of thousands of taxpayer dollars to reimburse the town. Some of you are elected officials with private contracts with the town, some employees of the town, and others are town contractors. Some are part-time residents, and others own businesses that used to be in town. And since I'm sure the contract signed with the Vote Yes consultants did not include any performance-based requirement, maybe they can kick in. The point is, redemption is a powerful motivator. Acknowledge you made a mistake, again, ask for forgiveness, and pay your debt to society. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments.
You're welcome.
Do we have an opportunity to
Any
rebut?
other public comment?
Do we have an opportunity to rebut?
No, it's
No,
public
selectmen
comment. It's
comment,
it's
Marshall.
public comment, so people are allowed to spew whatever they want to spew, and that's their public comment.
There
That-
is no one
That
else.
wasn't spewing, that was a text.
That you
There is
spewing
no
and
one
That
else.
was instructive,
things coming out
Mr.
of the
Chair.
mouth came out of
Move
your
on,
mouth.
move on to selectmen
Okay.
comment, please.
Okay, public comment is now closed. Thank you. Selectman comment,
I have something.
yes.
I am a citizen of this town also, and I am not going to apologize for what I did. I have a right to question things just like everybody else did. I have a lot to clear up, not because there was a lot of lies that was put on No on One, let me tell you. And 5 years ago, we encouraged people to vote no, and that was never put out there by the people on No on One. We encouraged people to vote no because we had an agreement with the school. So it wasn't voted down. We encouraged it to be voted down because we were working it out through them. But once again, we only put partial truths out there, and I am not going to apologize for me questioning something that I felt strongly in. So I don't owe anybody any money. We had 1,000 people that did go out there and they did vote the way they wanted to. Yes, it got turned down, but I raised awareness of some things that were going on, and I will never apologize for that. If I make a mistake, I'll be the first one to say it. But as far as I'm concerned, I'm glad everybody got out and voted. I'm glad that the community did start to reach out to each other for whatever side it was, but I don't feel I was wrong. That's my comment.
I just want to make it absolutely clear to Mr. Levitt and others that I was not on that withdrawal committee. I was asked by that committee to produce a budget, which I did. Not once during that process did I state my opinion, either pro or con on the process. I don't like the fact that I was assigned to some team by Mr. Levitt.
Other comment? Okay,
I'd like to make comment.
Yep.
I ditto a lot of what Teresa said, and I'm a pure product of Raymond education. I went from kindergarten. I was the last 8th grade to be here. Didn't learn a lot when it came to, I was not ready for high school at all. At all, I was not ready. And went into high school in Westbrook because both of my sisters and my brother said, don't go to Wyndham. It's a terrible school. And it isn't a terrible school. That's what they said back then. And what I realized was that what I was getting from a Westbrook education instead of a Wyndham was another 20 minutes down the road. And I want to make sure that our kids in our town have the right focus and know what they are getting into. It is so important nowadays more than ever when there's more than one languages, there's all of that. So my whole focus was to make sure that the partners that we are with are partners that are true partners and are going to treat us just like they need us, just like we need them. You know, and to me, a lot of my push was that I wanted to make sure that we were getting our fair share, and that's my comments. And that's all I really should say.
Okay, town manager's report.
Well, I have a few things this evening. The first thing is that I'd like to report that the work completed today on the Mountain Road. So I'd like to congratulate the Public Works crew on a job well done. The stop signs in, people are getting used to that. It's not 100%, you know, people are happy about it, but I think it will be a lasting safety improvement once people get accustomed to that. And so I think, as I said, the crew did a good job, and it's a much improved surface. And we've made a lot of improvements in town, as you know, and come a long way with that paving program. I also would like to announce that we have a new finance director. So Alex Aponte will be starting on December 1st, Tuesday, and his official confirmation will be at your meeting on the 8th. He comes to us from the Androscoggin Valley Council of Governments. So although he hasn't been a finance director directly for a specific community, he is quite familiar with financial management in several communities in that region. He has a lot of private sector and other public sector work that's not directly town work. So very excited about him coming. So we will have more information on that for your next meeting. I'd like to thank Kathy Ricker for her 4 years of service. She just had passed her 4-year mark on the weekend before she decided to accept the job in Topsom near her home. So I think we will have a very smooth transition. Rita will be helping out in the interim while we wait the 2 weeks for Alex to start, and also helping to familiarize Alex with where things are electronically and otherwise. He will be coming in this Thursday, if you want to stop by to meet with Kathy. And I guess I don't want to, as town manager, I tried to take a really high road on this whole RSU thing. I stayed out of it. I wasn't on the committee. I wasn't a campaigner. I would like to congratulate Mr. Levitt for standing out in front of the school all day long. That was, I think that was a very effective thing. And what I heard a lot of was that people didn't, fully understand the issue. And I respect the vote of the people, and it was an overwhelming vote. I acknowledge that. But my interest from the beginning was simply that we had the very best schools that we possibly could have. I know that people don't remember, a lot of people, new people in the community, and I'm really surprised that a lot of people who do know, like Mr. Levitt, don't remember the National Schools of Excellence, don't, I guess validate the notion that, home rule is something of significance. But I do respect the vote of the people, and I'm look forward to working closely with the Wyndham schools and improving on what we have. I think we can make some improvements, particularly at the high school. I think the grant that they received recently to deal with violence in the school is a good thing. I think they have recognized the digital divide, which is something I've been talking with them at the administrative level for a long time. Back along, that was not such a big issue, but the pandemic has brought that out as something they need to work on improving, and I think they're doing that. So I think, unlike Mr. Levitt's characterization, I don't think it divided the community. I'm here every day. I think it was an honest and an open discussion, and ultimately, the will of the voters was heard. And I think, interestingly, the vote 5 years ago was one that everybody agreed should be turned down, as I recall, because there was an accommodation made between the towns, and the suggestion was that everybody should vote in the negative because we reached an agreement. I think now we have an opportunity to work together, move forward positively. That's what I hope for the town and the school, and to have the very best schools we can. And I think it's a time to be positive and not divisive and sow animosity, personal or otherwise. Thank you.
Okay, so you went, okay. If there is nothing else, then we'll adjourn the meeting.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Okay.
All those in favor? Meeting is adjourned.